Are friendationships bad or are they good?
As soon as you find yourself like consistently getting a bit confused and you do like him, but you're confused if he likes you, you need to say something. That's how I feel.
See something, say something.
Yeah.
We're going to start a gender war here.
Takes two to tango.
Yeah, do you think guys are the only one who do this?
No,
Do you
but
think
he didn't
women
respect
not?
my boundaries.
I don't really believe that like guys and girls can just be friends.
Okay.
Ooh, okay.
The guy, he's like, I didn't even touch the girl, and the girl's like in it
But
deep.
like, I feel like we're basically in a relationship.
I didn't touch her. All I did was just
Right.
like tell her most intimate secrets of my heart, for a year.
Totally.
Well, I always say when it comes to friendationships, there's 3 outcomes, and 2 of them are wonderful for you, and 1 of them kills you. What's up, fam? I'm JJ, this is Kate, and we have our guest,
How's it going?
Hey, Daniel.
Daniel McLeod, 26 years old, bachelor, single.
Maybe.
Who's in the middle. I cannot think of someone better to ask this question. You're in the middle of hundreds, thousands, 16 to 30-year-old young adults. What's a friendationship? How would you just off the cuff define?
We're going to kick off the
Do you
episode
even
with
know
a...
what that means?
That's
What's
crazy.
a friendationship?
All right, am I old? Am I a true millennial and you're Gen Z? Or does friendationship apply to Gen Z?
I think it does.
Okay.
I would say a friendationship is a relationship that is a friendship, but you're like kind of dating and no one maybe clearly defines it or what it is. And so there's a lot of blurred lines there. And so people are like trying to walk the line, but trying to do a friendship, but also dating. So I don't know. It's kind of tricky.
Sounds very confusing.
It's very.
I'm not even in one right now.
What do you think
and
it
I'm
is?
confused. I mean,
Exactly.
I think that's the whole point, right? We have a dating coach here. How would you define it
friendship,
for us?
friendationship. I would say it's a friendship that feels like a relationship where one or both parties has feels for the other person, but nobody's saying it. So it's kind of this unsaid, yes, we're friends, but I kind of like you more than a friend. And maybe I talk to you a lot and maybe I'm a little bit flirty with you, but I'm
Right.
not actually defining that this is anything because I'm fearful of X, Y, Z. I'm fearful of losing the friendship. I'm fearful of commitment. I kind of just like how this feels. And I don't really know if I actually want to date you. So I'm just going to keep it as is. Yeah. Friendationship.
Well, do you agree with that, or
I would agree with that.
yeah?
Yeah.
Have you ever been in one? Does this feel familiar for you?
I
Is
have
this
been in one.
Okay, all right. Yeah. So it's kind of like that messy, blurred line. Like, is this a dating relationship or is this a friendship? And you kind of put it in a blender,
Right.
and nobody knows.
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows.
Well, yeah.
Go ahead.
I think it can be really messy, but I think it also, there's a way that it can be pretty clear.
Yeah. What do you mean by that?
I think,
Ooh.
I think that you can have a quote unquote friendationship with someone as long as you both are clear and on the same page and both have a similar trajectory of where you're going.
Okay. So what would that look like?
So, well, actually, I want to debate you on that because I don't know if you can, because usually in friendationships, nobody's really talking about how they feel about each other.
Okay, well then that's a problem.
Yes.
That might be a different,
usually.
that might be a different
But
thing.
what you're saying is you're friends and you're building friendship and there is a acknowledge romantic interest.
Yeah.
Like you've talked about it. Like that's okay.
Yeah.
Is that what you would kind of say?
Yeah, maybe that would be the beginning of pursuit though.
Right.
So it's almost like you're building friendship, like JJ likes to call friendshipping. So we're kind of friendshipping together, which you probably don't know like this part of what we teach, but we talk about dating as the first 90 days should mainly be about building friendship with a person. Cool. And so it's kind of like you are in a non-friendationship, but a friendship relationship because you're just trying to, this is especially if you don't know this person, like you met online, you're just like trying to build friendship. You're on a setup. You've never met that person before. So it's like this first 90 days, hey, let's build connection and friendship to see if we actually enjoy each other.
Right.
And they're going to call it dates. They're going on dates, but they're not like overly romantic. They're not kissing each other. It's just building friendship and seeing, is there enough romantic interest here? Is there great qualities here to then go to the next stage of relationship? Does that make sense?
But I'm curious, like, how did you find yourself in a friendationship? And like, how do they typically happen in general? Because you're around a lot of young adults. You're around a lot of communities. Is this everywhere, or is it just you, or is it just Franklin, Tennessee? Like, is this common, and how do they typically happen?
I would say, at least for me, I don't really believe that like guys and girls can just be friends.
Okay.
Ooh, okay.
So I just don't think that there's a world where you guys can just go off and hang out one-on-one and just like call that like cool or casual.
Yeah.
Like someone's gonna catch something
Yes.
either emotionally or physically or even spiritually. There's,
Yeah.
like,
Yes.
all these different dynamics.
Right.
So if I were to quote unquote have a friendationship, it would be probably not called a friendationship. It would probably be a clear line of pursuit of a friendship.
Okay, but that being said, you also found yourself in one, right?
Yeah.
How? Was it just like you were hanging out one-on-one and all of a sudden you liked her and vice versa? Or is that like how it typically happens?
I would say that, but I was clear on the front end that I liked her.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So
you were like, I want to build friendship with you.
want to build friendship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I do like you, and I have an
Yeah.
intention of maybe
Yeah.
pursuing
So it was
you.
that was clear.
friendship, but it was also like, but it's with a goal, which is to be dating and in relationship.
That's right.
So I would just call that intentional friendship.
Yeah.
Right. Which I like.
Yeah.
Would you say, but let's rewind though. Maybe that's not everyone.
Right.
Would you say the majority of friendationships though are undefined, meaning they're maybe not doing what you're doing?
Yeah, for sure.
They're kind of crushing on each other
Yeah,
and
yeah.
hanging out one-on-one.
Yeah. And it's weird and incredibly awkward.
Okay. Well,
So I've also been, just to make you feel better, I've been in a lot of friendationships in my
too.
past. Like a lot. JJ, you too?
oh yeah. Well, my question is this. I have a theory, and I'm dying to know your answer. My theory is that the unspoken kind of secrets, like, kind of a spicy word. My theory is that the unspoken secret of young adult and church communities is that 90% of everyone is in a friendationship of some sort. And really, we all kind of have these church crushes, and we're constantly thinking about our singleness, dating, and other people from like an attraction and romantic lens.
Okay.
And I think it is like way more common, and everyone's kind of wrestling through it than we acknowledge.
Okay, can you explain that again?
Yeah.
Okay.
We have
I'm
a young
trying to
adult
grasp.
community.
Yeah.
There's 100 people in it. 90 of them are single.
Okay.
70 to 80 of them, or like 90% of them, when they walk in for a young adult night, they're there for Jesus. They're there to worship. And they are also all, from the beginning to the end of that event, looking at who else is single there, sizing them up, checking them out, and thinking about how they appear, how they smell, how funny they are when they lift their hands of worship. They are constantly thinking about how they're coming across and checking out other singles.
I would agree with that.
Dang, really?
Yeah.
Like,
I agree too.
I would
it's
agree with
kind of
that,
like
yeah.
the unspoken
Yeah.
thing that's happening constantly.
Yeah. We do young adult gatherings.
Yes. Yeah. Tell us what you do, Daniel.
So well, one of the things that we do, we have high schools, young adults, and then we do evangelism training. One of them is called the Merge. And as the leader, I have to try so hard to remind everyone that we're here for Jesus.
and not
Yes.
and not what?
Like not the person next to us and not another relationship.
Yeah.
Not that that's wrong and that has naturally happened.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
people have gotten married out of those
Yeah.
gatherings.
Yeah.
But it's like it sometimes can be hard to even press into worship because you have so many young adults there that are thinking about the person next to them that it's just like, we just got to look to Jesus right now. And then when he comes, his presence comes strong. But it can be so hard to get there.
Yeah.
So you can even feel it,
Yeah.
see it.
Oh, yeah.
100%.
Like they are
I am
consumed by
guilty
it.
of that back in the day for sure.
Yeah.
And what's hard is it's just a misordered like priority, right? It's okay to go there and be open to dating and open to meeting other people, But it's like what happens in dating, and a lot of people, it becomes the top thing in their mind.
Right.
So in worship, it's like I can't really focus on Jesus right now because I'm just literally, that's the top thing in my mind. I'm thinking about that interaction I just had. I'm thinking about it. He's behind me. Is he watching me worship right now? Like, how do I look while I'm worshiping? Like, just all these things. Or what am I going to say to him after? And so it's not bad that they maybe are open to meeting people.
Yeah.
It's just get your priorities right. Let's go with the right alignment.
Well, let's make it personal because you are on the hot seat.
You're in the middle on the actual hot seat.
I'm here.
Vulnerably, would you say like that message to them is also for you? Like, let's focus on Jesus, because even being on stage with a microphone, you can be like, I wonder how I'm coming across to so-and-so tonight. Is that right? Has that been something that you've...
I would say it actually hasn't been a struggle for me.
Okay, good.
Because I've had such... Okay, this is me being completely honest. For so long, I think I did so many just like building friendships when I was pursuing someone, and I would stop there. So I never actually got to like a deep like dating relationship to where I just always thought hanging with the boys is just so much more fun.
So hanging out with girls is not fun?
It wasn't that fun to me. Like, does that make sense? So to where I don't think I truly desired to be married until this last year.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? So
yes.
It never really was like an actual struggle for me.
That's how I was.
I actually would say that is more common, and I don't like to generalize, but with guys.
Yeah.
Okay, because girls, we're facing, we're a little more wired into the romanticism of things, and B, a lot of girls are just like, think about girls and princesses and all the Disney movies, everything. We're wired into thinking of becoming a wife and having a family. And so, and yes, there's a biological element. So like, I feel like for women, it's just a little bit more there where they're always thinking about marriage, always thinking about the guy, always. And that's just something I think for us ladies, like we just really have to work against, because as that becomes a priority in our mind, it eventually becomes an idol. Yeah. And then if they do end up being 30, and we have lots of people listening above 30 and above 40, it's like, well, then if you're not married and that has consistently been the top of your mind, now you're like deeply disappointed. And it's this deep well of despair.
Totally.
Yeah.
And because like, I feel like for women, even at like age 6 or 5, you're already thinking about your marriage. Mm-hmm. Like you're already thinking about your wedding day. Like it's already been this thing. And then on top of that, girls just talk forever.
Oh yeah.
So then you have all the conversations.
Romance and dating is a hobby for women.
Let me ask this other question too. But okay, so would you say then, you two as guys, this actually brings me to a really good point about friendationships. So I actually do have a theory that guys happen to be in more friendationships than girls in some regards. Okay, girls are not off the hook, but because guys are like, I am not necessarily focused on marriage. I'm like open to like, I kind of like girls, but I like girls, but I'm kind of interested in them, kind of like don't really care about dating. I'm focused on my boys. I'm focused on having fun. I'm focused on Jesus. But they love the emotional connection that they get from a friendationship. Because I've been in these with guys in the past where it's like the guy was like, he would tell me, he's like, I'm actually not ready to date. And I'm like, cool. But then he would send me all these emotional texts, opening up his heart, vulnerability, be flirtatious when he saw me, come find me in a room when we were all hanging out in a room together. But then when I would clarify with him, like, hey, so are you interested? Like I need a DTR. He'd be like, oh no, I'm not ready to date at all. And I'm sitting here like, what the heck?
I've heard this story so many different times.
So the guys loving the emotional connection and the emotional love in a sense.
And then the second the D word date is brought up.
Yes.
What? No. No, it's crazy. Yeah. I'm curious to see. I would say I've definitely seen, and I'm speaking, this is JJ too sometimes. I can hang out one-on-one with a girl, which I'm like, that's dating, by the way. One-on-one, we're just friends. We're having a wonderful time, building friendship, flirting. But the second dating and relationship came in, I freaked out.
Yeah.
You're like, bye.
I was like, yeah, no. And I'm like, there's no difference before and after what we were doing. Like we were dating.
Totally.
Whether I wanted. So do you see this stereotypically in guys that they maybe are a little bit less aware, unintentional. They're charming, they're fun, and all of a sudden they have a friendationship or two with a girl who really likes them, but they're like, well, that's not my fault, you know, like
oh frick.
Yeah.
And even though it's not my fault, also like, well, I was just being
talk
nice.
about that. Yeah. So first you see it generally more with guys, and then we'll go from there.
I think guys can tend to do that. Like, come in, the girl's all excited, enamored, right? And then goes way too deep emotionally, and then is not willing to make the commitment. It's really sad, actually.
You speaking from experience or no? I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
No, but it does
You got to
happen.
be careful.
Yeah, no, I've done that for sure. I think a lot of it was stemming for me from I didn't have great guy relationships. So there was a lot of intimacy, fun, emotional connection that I would find in a female friendship. And it was all of the fun of dating without the responsibility.
Y'all, we are so excited, okay? Because if this information about friendationships is ringing a bell, and if you're like, this is me, I'm not doing dating very healthily, I keep getting stuck in these, we have something for you, don't we, JJ?
We do. I mean, look, it's so amazing that this doesn't exist yet.
Yeah.
If you basically are like, when it comes to dating, I never really had anyone teach me.
Yep.
I've had to learn all the lessons the hard way.
Yes.
And I'm trying to do it for the first time in a long time, or just kind of reorient and readjust.
Or maybe you've just gotten out of a heartbreak and
Yeah.
you're like, hey, I need to heal and figure out how to do this a different way next time.
Yeah, long story short, if you just need a blueprint for healthy dating.
Yes, we have you covered. We created a program called Basics of Dating. The season on the podcast is called Basics of Dating. So if you've liked what you've heard throughout this season, you're going to get so much more in this program. It's a 6-week program. It has 6 different modules with multiple lessons in each module. There's 23 lessons total. And it's going to give you every basic that you need for your tool belt to date in a better way.
But Kate, I've done internet programs before by myself. I do 1 or 2, I get excited, and it's just me by myself, and I don't really ever change. It's just me. And is this just going to be another one of those?
This is going to be different because you can come back to it over and over. And each month we have a Q&A with a dating coach, and you don't lose access to that. So that's another great part about being in this program is you actually get to talk to a dating coach every single month in the program.
Is there going to be other people in the program with me on those calls, or is this one-on-one?
So yeah, there'll be other people that you get to meet each month on those calls that are also doing the basics of dating. Who knows what may happen in those calls?
What do you mean by that?
You might meet some other eligibles after you've taken the program and actually healed yourself.
Hopefully.
After you've stopped all the friendationships in your life.
Yeah.
After you've stopped attracting the toxic people that you've been attracting.
No, I'm legit super excited. I wish I would have had this.
Same. And, we have our other program, School of Dating. Basics of Dating is great because if you can't afford School of Dating, but you need to do something different in your dating life, you need to start with Basics of Dating. It's going to help you just really transform how you're dating and really give you every tool from healing, how to get out there, knowing what to look for, dating in the church, all of those things.
Yeah, if School of Dating is like college, this is like middle school.
Yeah. Okay. So you can visit it by going to joinbasicsofdating.com. Today is actually the launch day for Basics of Dating. And for the first 50 people that join us, you guys are going to be our founding members, and you're going to get a special workshop, which is called What's Wrong With Me? I Thought I'm a Catch. Okay. So if you are like, I'm a catch, I don't know what's going on. Why is my dating life not working out? We have a workshop, special teaching live from me and JJ that we're going to be teaching you. We can't wait to get into it. Again, visit joinbasicsofdating.com. So I have another thing I want to say to this because I have a lady that I coached a while ago, and she came to me and she shared with me that she had gone through a breakup. And so when I asked her more about this breakup, I come to realize that she actually was never in a relationship truly defined. It was a friendationship that had been going on for years. And because nothing was ever defined between them, one day he showed up with a girlfriend. And she was heartbroken. And so, when we got into the layers, what happened, because I was like, well, why didn't you say something earlier? Why didn't you voice that you had feelings for this guy? a big issue in the Christian church is that girls feel like they can't say anything. They feel like they have to wait for the guy to even say that they like her, or they like the girl, to be able, like, because that they feel like pursuit is they can't say anything. The guy has to make every move from beginning to end, which means they can't even voice or show any sort of true interest and voiced confusion. And I had to clarify for this sweet girl or this lady, actually you were not guarding your heart well, because that's bad theology to say, pursuit means that a guy is going to be able to read your mind and know exactly how you're feeling and be able to make everything clear for you. He maybe knew you liked him, but if you never sat down and were like, hey, I like you really a lot and I want to date you, then he's just getting all the benefits of a relationship and he shouldn't be doing that, but you're also at fault. And so I do think guys need to know, like, there are girls, unfortunately, out there that kind of are waiting for the guy to make a move. And I don't think the girl should sit there and not say anything. But I think, guys, you also need to realize, like, if you are flirting with the girl, there's a good chance she is into you. And she's just not saying anything because she's confused on what the word pursuit really means.
Well, have you ever had a girl ask you, what are we? Or maybe a friend, who's maybe a little too, what's the word? Unaware, or just kind of flirting around, and have girls come up and ask, hey, what are we? Like, what's going on here?
I've never had that.
You've never had that. All right. So your conscience is clear.
Yes.
Have you had friends though?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. So how does that go down?
Well, I think some guys, like back to what you said, will get into something emotionally. Will get in deep emotionally without them even knowing it. And then they get thrown off when they're like, why did the girls come and say, like, what are we? Like, we were just hanging out, and like, it's all like masked in like innocence, right?
Yes.
And it's all like, we were just hanging out and, we didn't really do anything, and I never even touched her. But like emotionally, like they're already like a year into dating.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Wow.
And that's
like
a
they've
problem.
been hanging out one-on-one, confiding, building a really deep friendship
and then
for a
she
year.
hits the what are we? And then the dude is like, what in the world? Like, I haven't, because guys can typically connect more physically.
Yeah.
And girls will connect typically more emotionally.
Right. Yeah.
So the guy, he's like, I didn't even touch the girl. And the girl's like, in it
but like,
deep.
I feel like we're basically in a relationship.
I didn't touch her. All I did was just like tell her the most intimate secrets of my heart, for a year.
Totally.
And she's asking, what are we?
Yeah. And then the dude's thrown off.
Yes.
And that honestly is a level of emotional immaturity for men.
Yeah, I agree. I agree entirely.
Okay, so here's one question. Do you think friendationships, whether it's the girl liking the guy or the guy liking the girl, do you think the responsibility of clarifying falls on the guy? Like, women can ask the question.
This goes back to our friendationship question.
Yeah.
So do you think friendationship is a mutual liking of each other?
It sometimes is, sometimes not.
Or it's just one or the other?
It can be one or both. Okay. So, which I really like that definition. It's a little bit more flexible. Who does kind of the responsibility fall on for maybe clarifying?
I think both.
Yeah.
Actually.
If you're in mutual?
Because it sounds like what's the clear thing that we understand about friendationships is there is no lack of clarity. Mm-hmm. So if you want to come out,
there is no clarity.
Yeah, there is no clarity.
Yeah.
So if you want to get out of a friendationship, I think someone has to define the clarity.
Yeah. Someone has to have the courage to say, I like you.
Yeah.
And what are we doing? But do you also, I feel like I might push back and say, but if someone's being immature and how they're leading someone on, and maybe like they're emotionally hanging out, texting, like they're texting goodnight every night, sending memes, flirting. I think the unaware responsibility is that's also on you to clarify, like, hey, this is just friendship. Because if it really is because that brings it back to this. If it really is just friendship, why are you doing that with her? Or why are you doing that with him and nobody else?
Yeah, 100%.
It's another person who's single that you're attracted to, and that you are going way out of your way to check in with, talk with, flirt with, and yet it's just friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's not.
Right. But here's a question for you. What do you think is like, this is a hard one. What do you think is the underlying reason for why they just naturally happen? All of these friendationships left and right, like if unattended, they just kind of like weeds. I don't want to actually rewind. Are friendationships bad or are they good? Are they like, because we're definitely a little bit bashing them,
Yeah.
but can they ever be good?
That's a great question.
As someone,
After we've talked about it, I don't think they're very good.
Yeah.
Because we've talked about it in a light of there being lack of clarity, which I just think that maybe that's what makes a friendationship.
lack of clarity shows lack of maturity.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that?
100%.
Yeah.
So-
like clarity is kindness.
Yeah.
That's
Clarity
actually
is
JD
kind.
Rogers said that years ago. And back to just
JD.
answer your question. Yeah.
love
Back to
JD.
your question earlier, JJ, I think actually that it is the responsibility for both parties. And I think whoever develops feelings first, it's on responsibility for you to say something very quickly.
Yeah, I just wrestle. There might be a few times where you're hanging out one-on-one as friends and then that something grows and then someone kind of clarifies
Yeah.
and it could turn out to be a good thing.
Yeah.
But I do think,
Okay, I have a thought on this.
yeah,
My thought is a friendationship could be okay with the intention of bringing clarity in the short future.
yeah, however it comes.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. I hear
Because some
what you're
people
saying.
go into those and they're just literally like, oh, not even thinking about bringing clarity at any point.
It has to be quick. Like if all of you met a guy and you've gotten to know them just in a community for like a few months, and then all of a sudden you're realizing, wow, you guys are talking more, and you're starting to like him a little bit. Then it needs to be brought up.
Totally.
Like I think not long after you realize, this is different than what it was to start.
Yeah.
Then I think it needs to be defined or brought up at least.
Yeah.
I have a good example actually
Okay.
from
Yeah.
last night at Emerge.
Yeah.
Oh, there we
At
go.
one of our
Great.
young adult gatherings.
Yes.
So there's this dude. He started dating this girl who's one of my good friends.
Yeah.
Sisters. And so she comes up. She tells me, she's like, so and so. We've been hanging out. We've been dating. She's like super excited. And then she's like, oh, here he comes. And then he walks up. I start talking with him. Great dude, love him. I was like, man. She walks away. I was like, man, I'm so excited for y'all. Like y'all are, so excited for where you're at. And he's like, yeah, we've been hanging out. It's been a couple weeks. And he said, we're gonna have to have a conversation here, this week and like more defining of what it is. And I just loved hearing that from him, of him being like, hey, like we've been hanging out.
Yeah.
We've been dating. He's already in his mind. He's going, this conversation is coming. I'm really into this girl. But he wasn't saying like, hey, like we're boyfriend, girlfriend, we're dating. But it was like
Was it clear though that they were dating?
Yeah.
Or was it like we've been hanging out as friends for a few weeks and now it's kind of time to clarify, hey,
It's been friends, dating.
Okay, because even
It's
then
a
that's kind of
90
like
days.
Yeah.
It sounds like that 90 days that we're talking about.
It does, but
going
even
out
that
on
like
dates.
swamp of like, is this hanging out or are we dating? What does that even mean?
Totally. But I just love that he knew that a conversation was coming
Yes.
to bring
Yes.
clarity. And I was like, that's a good man.
Yeah.
And he's going to lead that out.
And you would call that a DTR?
Yeah.
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 Yeah, I like that.
And even if the DTR isn't like an official relationship, it's like, hey, we're pursuing each
Yeah.
other with the intention
Exactly.
of relationship. Yeah, I do say for the ladies listening, like if you are confused about if a guy likes you or not, and he's texting you a lot, you're talking a lot, or you feel like he makes it obvious and comes over to you every time he sees you just to talk to you, and it's about emotional things, like if you're getting confused, you have to say something. Once you start bringing it to the group chat of girls and trying to analyze everything, like does he like me, does he not like me, you're already in a bad place. Like please make it clear and bring that kindness to your heart, okay? Because there is a chance he's clueless. There is a chance. I'm not saying he's a bad guy, but there's a chance that he just is like, feeling things out. But as soon as you find yourself like consistently getting a bit confused and you do like him, but you're confused if he likes you, you need to say something. That's how I feel.
See something, say something.
Yeah.
Okay, so here, follow-up question.
Yeah.
Who do you think the responsibility of having the DTR and initiating it falls on?
I think it's the guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why do you think guys not have it? Like, why do you think they avoid it?
I think
sometimes.
I think they're scared of commitment, kind of back to what you were saying.
Yeah.
I think that they also have fear, maybe. I think there's guys are a lot more afraid than you think.
Of what?
Of commitment is one. I think they're also afraid of vulnerability. I think that also they can be I think sometimes guys just like to play. Sadly.
Do you think that they're fearful of, let's say it's a group of friends or like people, you know, like it's at Merge or it's the same church community. Like, do you think that they're fearful of like, if I define this or like like, I like this girl as a friend, she's a great friend, I don't want to ruin the friendship. So do you think there's like a fear of like, if it doesn't go well and we're in the same group, like what's going to happen?
Yeah, I think it can be some of that of like, this could ruin that, you know, things could look different.
Yeah, but overall, just a lot of fear of different things. Is it fear of like even having the conversation if it doesn't go well? Or is it like fear of the relational aspect and committing after it? Does that make sense? Like, is it about like this kind of like roadblock or is it about everything after that?
I think it's just different for a guy.
Yeah.
I really do. Also, I think some guys just literally don't know to do that.
Yeah, like they've never been taught.
Yeah. Which is why this is important.
Yeah. Like healthy dating has to be modeled.
Yeah, it has to be modeled. Like some guys, I think like I'll see them, they'll start dating, they'll start going hard in pursuit, like just going like all in, giving everything. And then it's like, dude, are you going to have the conversation? It just didn't even strike them.
Wow. Because they were just like...
Yeah. They're like, oh, she knows type of thing. It's maybe assumption. You know, it's like, I've made it so clear. I brought her flowers, you know, and the girl's still going crazy.
Like, wait.
What the heck is going on?
Yes.
But she's all in. And then the guy just has no clue to really have the conversation. And so, like, I remember I had a conversation with a friend recently. And I was like, bro, you need to, like, really make this clear.
Yes.
You know?
I mean, we were at a fire pit the other night having to encourage a guy to clarify, is this lunch?
Yeah.
Is this professional?
Right.
This is what kind of,
Or
the
is
girl's
this a
freaking
date?
out.
Right?
All right, I have a question. So let's say that a girl or, you know, let's say the girl does bring it up. Let's say the girl's confused and the guy clarifies, oh, you know, actually, no, I'm not interested in dating you. Okay. This is a real situation that happens a lot and has happened to me more than once. Okay. Because I did have the courage in multiple occasions to say something to the guy where I was like, hey, like this feels a bit flirty. I'm open to seeing if there's something there. I'm also open to just being friends, but I kind of wanted to see where you're at. And then the guy was like, oh, you know, then they doubled down of like, oh, no, like actually I'm not in a place to date. Like I can't date at all right now. And I'm just thinking about this one specific guy. JJ happens to know who he is. But I remember this one situation with this guy and we had like a sit down conversation about this. And he was very much like, you're like a lot of things I'm looking for in a girl, like which is the worst, right? You already like the guy and then he's telling you, you're all the things I'm looking for.
Oh, I hate that.
But I'm just not in a place to date. And I just would love to continue to be friends. And so I was like, okay, well, here are my boundaries. And so I set boundaries very clearly. I was like, because I kind of have some feels for you, I need to set some boundaries because for me, I need to go back to like just seeing you as a friend, which is fine. And I was like, so please, like no more emotional texts, like no late night, not super late night, but you know, like texts at night. And we can't go back and forth like tons. And even at parties, like or events, don't come over and just like talk to me for like 30 minutes in the party. Like we could see each other. I just need some time to get back to like true friendship with you. And he respected it. He was like, yeah, that sounds good. A week goes by, 2 weeks. I don't remember. Guess what he starts doing again? The same things. Same thing, same text, same like cornering me at parties and then being like going out of his way. Oh, well, do you need a ride to the event? Like I can pick you up. I'll get you. Oh, you need to be dropped off at home? I'll drop you off. Like from all these mutual events. And then again, I'm like stuck being like, wait a second. And I'm not fully off the hook because I started engaging in some of it again. But then I had to initiate another conversation, you guys, and like be like, you need to stop talking to me actually entirely. But this happens. So the guy, and I'm coming at the guys right now. Girls can do this too. But it's like the guy comes and he says, I'm not interested in dating. Actually, I'm not ready. But then he continues to do the same things that he did before.
Well,
What do you guys think about this?
well, is it just guy? If we're gonna start a gender war here,
Takes two to tango.
yeah. Do you think guys are the only one who do this?
No,
Do you
but
think
he didn't
women
respect
not-
my boundaries.
Okay, well, even though guys don't have as smart of language as women, like boundaries, don't you think that women can be capable of leading on men?
Yes. Okay. Can I call myself out? This is what I think for everybody.
Sure.
So I'm
enjoying
complaining,
this.
but I'm gonna call myself out. Ladies, if you do set boundaries with a guy, or guys, if you set boundaries with a girl, that's great. Proud of you for having the courage. You are the boundary keeper. Okay. They are not the keeper of your boundaries. So if you set those boundaries, hopefully he respects them. Or she respects them, but maybe he's not going to. So you need to keep them. You can't be a victim to then say, oh, but he didn't, but I set these boundaries and then he kept texting me and, oh man, now it's been weeks and now I'm even more confused. Well, then why did you text back? If you said no texting past 9 p.m. and then you started texting him back when he was doing that, then you're just as at fault as he is, period.
Boom. Boom. I think it's interesting though, like, let's just say like you set the boundaries.
Yes.
Like, and then you're still seeing each other at parties or
Like events.
whatnot.
Yeah.
But like, there's probably still a part of you, not saying you specifically, but just say a girl, she sets boundaries.
No, I actually
whatnot.
think I know what you're going to say. And
But
probably
then
yes.
there's like
Let's
a
see.
part of you that like gets yourself ready to impress that person.
Yes. And you want him to change his mind.
Right?
Totally.
Yeah, it's like a
Yes.
false.
But it's that double-mindedness
Yep.
of like, you're unstable in all your ways. How do you come out of that?
Oh man.
It's hard.
It's
Yeah.
true. You want him to change his mind. I wanted this guy to change his mind.
You're bluffing.
I set these boundaries being like, you can't have me anymore,
Totally.
Right.
As like almost like a taunting situation. No, I mean, I wanted to stick to them. I just didn't. And then
hard,
when I
but
did see him, then I like wanted it to still go somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was even worse. You think I was thinking about him before? Well, after the Friendationship boundaries, I was thinking about him even more.
It is true.
Because of proving energy, I wanted him to choose me. That's
Well,
Right.
that definitely sounds messy. My question for Daniel, based off that, would be, what do you typically see as the train wreck of friendationships? Like, you oversee a young adult ministry, you're in a couple young adult ministries. Like, what's the cost of them kind of just constantly going, flaming out, the mess that follows it? Like, what do you kind of see in the wake of friendationships?
Well, there's no clarity and there's no commitment. So two major problems.
Right. And how does it impact the group and the community?
Yeah.
Or does it?
Well, I would say my first thing I think about is like you're in a friendationship and then the other person starts dating somebody else.
yeah.
That hurts.
A lot of,
Really bad.
Oh,
Oh
exactly.
my gosh.
Yeah. Yes.
Speaking from experience?
No.
Okay.
But I've seen it.
But
for
like
sure
firsthand
me. But you've
witness,
seen
yeah.
it with a lot of your friends.
Yeah, because it's like
They really like someone for months. And then all of a sudden, they walk in with a new girlfriend or boyfriend.
Yeah.
And they're just crushed.
Yeah, you're just crushed because there's no you're just friends,
Yeah.
So it's like
So on an individual level, a lot of pain and disappointment.
lots of pain. Setup. It's a real easy setup.
Yeah.
It's like teed up,
Yeah.
for a
Well, okay, I have another situation just in that anecdote. I have so many friendationship examples, but
Kate was a
I'm going to
mess.
reel
No, I'm
it
just
in.
kidding.
This one happens to not be me, but a long, long, long time ago, ages ago, there was a guy I knew. So we're talking about the guy side, who a girlfriend of mine, I started picking up on signals. I was like, okay, he's like looking at her very adoringly, like he's like, the way he's looking at her, the way he goes out of his way to do things for her, I'm like, this is not just like him being a good brother in Christ.
Yeah,
like
he loves her.
Started picking, yes. And I was like, I think he loves her. So I actually just went up, straight up asked him, I'm like, hey, do you like really have feelings for this friend? And he was like, yeah. Like, and he started breaking down crying. And he'd been in love with her for years. And he knew that she wouldn't actually be interested in him. And so he never voiced anything until finally he did one day. Because I told him, I was like, you have to voice something. And I knew that she wasn't interested in him. I knew. But I was like, you have to voice something. You were because I knew she was dating someone else behind the scenes. I knew that she was going to bring him into the life, and this guy would just be crushed. And I was like, you need to, But thankfully, they're both now happily married. Everything's fine.
Good.
But
Thank you. That was a good ending. I was about to be sad. I'm like crushed with this guy.
I know. I was about to cry.
It's so sad. But he did eventually have the courage to tell her. She comes to me and voices it, and I'm like, oh yeah, I kind of had a hunch that was. And she was like, can you believe it? And I was like, yes, I can. Do you see how he treated you? Like,
yeah, I mean, well, I get it, but I feel like there's a bullseye on unity. From the enemy. We've been reading JP's book, Your Story as a Villain. And as far as that pendulum of overestimating the enemy and underestimating the enemy, I think when it comes to dating in the church, we constantly underestimate how he could actually use that as his playground. And there's a bullseye on unity. And I think sloppy and messy dating is one of his favorite tools to just destroy unity. Because, I mean, you tell me, whether it's friendationships or just sloppy, messy dating, have you seen that impact the communities and the friendship circles you've been in?
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. I mean, if there is just so much unnecessary pain, trauma, bondage, soul ties, whatever you want to call it, like baggage, that I just believe that Christians don't need to go through. Like, it's like because we have Jesus and we have the Holy Spirit and we have leaders and we have the church, there should just be no reason why we walk through that type of pain and sorrow, especially at such a young age and foundational time of your life.
Yes.
It's like it completely sets you up for the rest of your life. And there's the most foundational, formational years. And so I think it's tragic.
Would you say dating is probably the number one tool? Like that chaos is kind of sowed.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you had to guess, it's probably relational and dating.
Yeah, for sure.
Always.
Yeah, definitely relational, families, which still stems back to dating relationships, you know, like from the parents.
Right.
So I think it's usually going to be like one of those few things, like your family or relationships growing up.
Yeah, I probably agree. On an individual level, there's just so much pain and chaos. What would you say about this? Dating is actually a responsibility, and if your character is not mature enough, you're just going to cause a ton of damage and heartbreak and pain.
For sure.
Would you say? Would you agree with that?
100%. Yeah.
Like it's a huge responsibility that we probably underestimate.
Yeah, just hurt people are going to hurt people.
Yeah.
Bottom line.
And dating is one of those ways. Do you think you can talk about dating too much in a young adult community?
Yes.
Like, what's the balance of that?
I do. In full transparency, I think that I have lived such a life of just focus on Jesus. And not until I got into a more serious relationship that I've been like, man, I really need some answers here.
Yeah.
it's true.
And so that's kind of more my perspective is like,
I was the exact same way. By the way.
Yeah. Of like, wow, like I wish someone had more clarity, you know, more, just clarity around certain things of how to do it, what to do.
Right. Just even like a blueprint.
Because before I would have been the guy like, just focus on Jesus. Like we don't need another dating conversation. We need people to know God.
I would agree.
Which is true to an extent, but God really does care about marriage. He really cares about family. It's a picture of the gospel. It's a picture of who he is.
Yeah.
It's a picture of our relationship with him. And so I would say I'm now in a season now where I'm like, wait, we really need to teach our young adults. We're going to go on JJ funny. And Kate. But like, for real, I'm not like, I think that I'm realizing I never dated in high school.
Yeah, neither did I.
I never thought to. Yeah. If I had maybe one girl friendship and we were just friends, right? So actually probably would have been more like a friendationship. Yeah. Now that I'm thinking about it.
I wonder if she hates me.
But I refused to date, you know, I was like, I will not date in high school.
Yeah.
I'm grateful for that. But
I did the same thing in high school and college.
Yeah.
But I was clueless.
Yeah.
I literally wake up at the same time as you. So funny. 25 years old. I felt like something kind of stir or woken. And
You met me at 26, right?
And I met her a year later.
No way.
Yes.
But my problem was I had no idea what I was doing.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I went through the pain of making mistakes in dating that I, maybe similar to you, like I was like, I need help.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And sometimes as men, we kind of have to, unfortunately, make mistakes
100%.
before we're maybe willing to seek out counsel.
For
so
sure.
now you're going to be a dating coach. And
As of now, first episode.
is this your first time? Is this your first time kind of talking about dating?
100%. Yeah. I never did, never wanted to, and never wanted to be the guy to do it.
And here you are.
Here I am.
Hey, be careful. That's what I said. And then I the Lord had me start a whole
About to
podcast
take over Heart
on
of
dating.
Dating podcast
Oh my gosh.
ministry.
What's up, fam? It's your boy JJ. Just want to let you know that this show is sponsored by one of our favorite partners, BetterHelp. If there's one thing that we recommend in singleness more than anything, it's asking for help and getting therapy. I know it can feel like an investment. A lot of times, especially as men, I have to wait for the pain of making mistakes to kind of be that catalyst to go get help like therapy. But by far and away, it's the most wise thing you can do. My favorite thing about wisdom, it's the ability to make wise decisions without having to go through the pain of that mistake. So take it from me, get a head start on therapy. It's the best prep you can do in order to get ready for marriage. BetterHelp specifically is the world's largest online therapy platform. They have over 30,000 therapists. If you can't find one in 30,000 therapists that you enjoy and like, then I'm not sure if you're really gonna find one person in the world that you might wanna marry at this point. So if you've been waiting, and you wanna try therapy, BetterHelp, that's betterhelp.com/HOD. You get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/HOD. Sign up today and get 10% off your first month.
I have a question for you guys. So there are a lot of people I encountered, and I'm sorry, I'm going back to the guys for a second, all right?
Dang,
but hey, I called the ladies out earlier. I called them out.
Okay,
I said it's just
right.
as much your fault, right? There's a lot of guys out there that are like, hey, she likes me, but I don't even know why, because I'm just being friendly. Like, I'm just a friendly guy. This is just my personality. I'm just friendly. I don't
Who
know
are you thinking about
why.
right now as you say that? You're laughing.
No,
like you're
I'm
thinking
laughing.
about a
I'm
guy.
laughing at myself
Okay.
because I was the guy that was not very friendly.
Yeah.
And I had to learn to just be normal and be friendly
With girls.
with girls.
Yeah, but you over aired on.
Yeah, I over aired on.
Yeah,
on-
which
because I was like, I don't want them to think I like them.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
just, "Ooh."
But you maybe have friends who are the opposite of that.
Yeah, I have friends who are the opposite.
the
of that,
charming
for
guy.
sure.
Yeah, like the
for sure,
charming
for
guy.
sure.
Okay, right. And then the girl is just like, oh my gosh, she thinks he likes her. But then when it comes down to it, the guy's like, if there is a conversation had, he's like, oh, that's just my personality. I'm just friendly. Like, I have my own little hot
Friendly
take
or
on
flirty,
this.
right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what do you guys think about the guy who's like, because you got a lot of girls out there thinking they're in friendationships with guys who just claim, those girls are confused. I'm just friendly. That's just my personality.
We hate them. Is that what the answer you're looking for? No, I'm just kidding.
That's not my
I'm just kidding. I'll let you go first.
The guy that's overly flirty, what do we think about him?
Yeah, or he just claims I'm just
How about
friendly.
this? What would you tell him? Because I think that's probably what we're trying to get at is like, there is a need for discipleship, mentorship, an older guy that you respect being into your life. So if there was a 24-year-old guy at the merge, he's been doing this maybe with a couple girls, what would you tell him?
I would be like, bro, that is emotionally immature. You're leading people on, setting expectations, making promises you can't keep, and you're playing with people's hearts.
Yeah.
But Daniel, I can't help it if I'm just like friendly.
I'm a nice guy.
And I'm a nice guy. Like, it's not on me for these girls to, like, I can't help that they like me, dude. What would you say back?
I would be like, yeah, you can. God's given you self-control.
So you think I'm out of control?
100%.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like how? Like I'm just being nice and treating them.
Well, this is what I would tell him. I would say, honestly, bro, if you actually want to get into a real relationship and someone to know you're clearly pursuing them, if you act like that around every girl, no girl's going to be able to take you seriously.
Right.
where it's going to get out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where it's going to get out.
Yeah.
But that's what I think. There needs to be clarity of pursuit. And like, I think guys specifically, when a guy is pursuing a girl, it should be clear that he's pursuing them.
Yes.
Based off of the way that they live.
Yeah. That's such a good ground rule.
Yeah.
Like,
and I don't think guys get that.
Yeah,
very
they
much
don't.
Sometimes.
But I'm like, you know, at the end of the day, men catch things. They're not necessarily always taught things.
Yeah.
So seeing a guy healthily date and setting that example and having that passed on from older guy to younger guy, I feel like that is probably the best way men can learn. Because if there's a guy, like say I'm younger than you, I respect Daniel, I love Daniel, I think you're awesome, and I see you do that, it kind of gives you no excuse but not to do the same thing.
Right.
Like I know that that's the right way. All right, so I have an idea.
Okay.
Let's role play.
Let's do it.
Okay, you're down?
Yeah, I'm down.
Older Daniel just had that conversation with you, young Daniel.
Okay.
I'm a beautiful young lady who's single and I like you now. It's been a year. We've been hanging out one-on-one. You've been sending me memes, sharing your heart with me. And now you realize what you've done. What are you doing? Where are we going? Where are we having this conversation? How are you having it? Like, take me through. So nice.
What's your name?
Gabrielle. Gabby. Call me Gabby.
Gabby.
Yeah. Where are we?
We're probably in my truck after a young adults gathering.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah. Like Gabby, can I talk to you for a minute?
Like, Gabby, can I talk to you?
It's the Holy Spirit.
I would say, Gabby, I just want to tell you I'm really sorry for how I've been treating you, because
You've treated me so nicely.
I've realized that all my intentions have actually been selfish, and I have been wanting to use you for my own gain and my own, what's the word? My own pleasure of emotional satisfaction. And I just want to apologize for emotionally leading you on.
Wow.
And that's not okay. It's not the way a man should act. And this is really only proper for a dating relationship.
So you're not interested in dating me? Is that what you're saying?
I might be. Just kidding. Just kidding.
That poor Gabby.
I'm kidding. No.
Oh man.
No, I'm kidding. You don't do that.
Yeah.
You
Or
said-
I mean,
That's the point.
Sadly,
that's
though.
that's the either point I go, Gabby, do you want to date? Or you go, Gabby, I'm really sorry.
You've made a decision.
And you own your fault.
Yeah.
And you make it clear you're not.
You're making a decision,
You've made
in or out.
your decision in or out. And anything in between. I feel so bad. I wish I could call this girl right now and apologize. I had that same conversation, except I said, let's just push pause.
Yeah.
And she was like, what does that mean? I'm like, let's just push pause. And I'm like, JJ, you idiot. That is probably the worst thing you could have said. That is the worst thing. I'm not saying yes, and I'm not saying no.
Yeah.
I'm just going to hold you on a little hook and dangle.
Yeah.
And I get so upset and angry at that younger version of myself because it's just so immature to hold someone's heart like that hostage and make them just wait on you, you know? And I think what you just said is the most loving thing you can do. Apologize and say, I'm sorry. We're just friends.
And own what you did.
Yeah.
And enter into how it made them feel.
Yeah.
Super important.
So put yourself in their shoes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And feel how they.
I think within apologizing, especially within dating, you have to enter into how they feel.
That can be uncomfortable for people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to go say, hey, I'm sorry for blank, blank, blank. It must have made you feel blank, blank, blank.
And actually attune to that
Yeah.
feeling.
Yeah.
Because you're a big proponent. I saw your post on Instagram. You actually have you have some beef with the word empathy. And you prefer compassion. Like Jesus looked out to the crowd and he had compassion and what it really meant.
Yeah.
You want to go ahead and maybe explain that real quick?
Yeah, for sure. There's a difference between empathy and compassion. Empathy feels, compassion acts. So like just because you see a homeless person on the street and your heart is just heartbroken, you feel tears, you cry, you have empathy, but compassion would feel that and would act on it. And so many times I think we have believers that have empathy, but they don't have compassion.
Yeah. And even in this, and even in dating, we get so into this consumeristic mode of how you fit into my life.
Yeah.
You can't even imagine what it feels like to be that other person.
Totally.
And what you just did to me after a
100%.
year of just torturing me.
Yeah.
And how heartbroken this.
I think there's something important to address within friendationships.
Yeah.
Is I think sometimes guys don't have the conversation or girls don't have the conversation because in the back of their mind, there's a hope that it will keep going and it will lead to something. I think that's one of the biggest lies.
Yes. And
or potential lies of like, this is still going somewhere. We're going to get there. It's just,
And that's why they don't clarify.
I think that's one of the biggest things is because there's this constant belief of progression. Maybe it's some sort of positive thinking, but it actually can be a real smokescreen and actually prolong you from actually meeting the right one.
I would actually add to that. I think it's a hope that it will continue, but I also think it's a combination of a fear of rejection. Because if you actually do say something and they're not interested, then you might actually have to face being rejected and this not being, and as much as it might be toxic and we know it's not good for us, it kind of feels good. Even if we know we shouldn't be doing it and we shouldn't be in it. And even if we know we're confused by it, we know we like the person, but we're not sure if they like us.
Yeah.
We still kind of like that feeling of like, I think they like me. And it's like this confusing, almost toxic thing of like, excitement, even though it's not good for us.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I always say when it comes to friendationships, there's 3 outcomes and 2 of them are wonderful for you and 1 of them kills you. The first 2 is you tell them you like them, you bring it up, you have the courage and the vulnerability, and then you find out that they like you back. Amazing. Throw a party. We're dating, hopefully. Okay. Number 2, you have the courage and vulnerability. You tell them you like you. You tell them that you like them. And you find out that they don't like you back and you're just friends. Wonderful. Throw a party. That's great. You got clarity. The third one that kills you is this. It's the prolonged limbo of constantly wondering whether or not they like you, thinking about them, daydreaming about them, fantasizing about them for months on end. And then they walk in with someone else
100%.
and you're heartbroken.
Yeah, that third option.
100%. And God is not a God of confusion.
Yes.
And so that's just super important key to remember.
Yeah. That limbo.
Yeah, that limbo. It's no place to be. You don't want to stay there. And if you're in it, don't be in it long.
Yeah, it's like a muck. It really feels like a muck.
Well, and I would just say, I actually would discourage people, if you're in a friendationship for too long, man, unless that person, like you just said, completely owns that what they were doing for the last 6 months, a year, whatever amount of time was wrong, it probably isn't healthy for you guys to get in a relationship. I would be worried that person might actually emotionally cheat on you because they have a tendency, almost addicted. I've dated multiple guys who have an addiction to emotional intimacy with women. And so it was emotional cheating. I've been emotionally cheated on a lot. And it's like, as soon as it gets hard with you, they're looking to the next person to like be talking to you on the side. And it could be just a friend that pops up that they had before that it's like, oh, well, I mean, I dated a guy who would behind my back go meet up and hang out with girls all the time, one-on-one.
Oh gosh.
And he was like, oh, they're just friends, I found out later. But some of these girls thought that he was actually taking them on dates, but meanwhile he was my boyfriend.
Man.
And so I would be worried about if he doesn't fully own, like, hey, I was confusing, or if the girl doesn't, because it could be the girl, that I would be concerned to even enter in a relationship if there's a massive trend of friendationship and talking and having emotional connections without clarity. Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, I agree.
Emotional cheating is a big, big deal. And it's definitely a problem. And I think the friendationships kind of seed roots of emotional cheating potentially.
Well, I think it's more like they just show you the kind of character you're dealing with and the kind of maturity you're dealing with.
Yeah.
If he can't lead in a friendationship, like what makes you think he's going to be able to lead in dating and relationship? He's kind of showing you
Totally.
And vice versa, right?
And
It
it's
can
just
be
the own. That's why it's the owning that
Right.
it's wrong. If they don't own it's wrong,
Right.
I'd be really.
But what about the
cautious.
girl that is in a relationship but can't tell the guy that asks them out like a clear no?
Ooh, that's just as bad.
Don't you
That's
think
bad
that there's
too.
a level of like similarity between
Yes.
a friendationship?
So you would say the equivalent for women would be it's a girl who likes being pursued.
Yeah, kind of likes
More
it,
than
kind of
she-
flirts with it.
Yeah.
But when the guy asks her out and she's already in a relationship, she can't clearly tell him no. Just kind of like maybe leaves it.
Kind of like,
Yeah, that's just
or
as
just
bad.
like
It's
still
just as
keeps the
bad.
carrot there, keeps
Yep.
the door open while
Yep.
she's dating another guy.
It's
Yeah.
what I call.
What would you call that? Yeah.
It's the analogy of the stove, which we've talked about. It's you like to have a pot on every burner, and you have somebody in the stove, you have a pot, and they're all at different simmering points. So you never really want to get any of the pots off the stove. You just like to keep them there at a low simmer so that you can access anyone at any given time. So it's just a multiple different. JJ
It's like
says
a
heart.
like
Jezebel
that?
spirit. Is what that
yeah,
sounds
no,
like.
I think it's, look, guy or girl, they're both so sad. They're both completely using people for their pleasure. Like what you said in your apology, I've used you for my selfishness and my pleasure. Like you have been a tool,
Yeah.
an object, something that just to serve me
Yeah.
and make me feel good.
Yeah.
And that's really what it is. Like you've reduced them from Imago Dei to something to just serve you.
Yeah.
And I think that's the biggest crime, sadness, sin. The thing that just breaks my heart, guy and girl, is just like we reduce people down to just people to serve us, pleasure us, and I'm guilty of that. Like I did that, and my heart it just breaks with sadness for the women I treated like objects to just serve me, and I had no interest in honoring them, pursuing them, committing to them, loving them, and that's why I do think. But it just can't. For me, it couldn't have just been taught. I had to see it modeled. And as men, I think that's just the best thing ever. Like you see a man who loves his wife, who honors women, who pursues them so like you, with just so much integrity. And it's really like when you see that, you basically say, wow, so I see it done. I can either do that or I can make up an excuse for why that is not possible for me. Why Daniel's, he's just, he's way more mature and holy than me. Like I'm just not like that. Or he's just a try hard. Like we just make those excuses for why that can't be us. Okay. Any
This
other
has been
closing
so
questions?
fun.
So good.
Thanks,
so
Daniel.
fun. Thank y'all.
Thanks for doing this
Y'all are
today.
good at this. Y'all are really good at this.
Hey, you did good on the hot seat. Did we
Thank
take it
you.
easy on him,
Yeah.
Kate?
Yeah, I think we did. We didn't go too hard.
Should we bring him back another time?
Yeah, maybe we should.
We
By
do.
the way, he's single. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh my
Sorry,
gosh.
Danielle. I'm not going to put you on blast for our community.
But you kind of just did.
I did.
So, unless
Daniel
we edit
McLeod
that,
on
then-
Instagram. No, I'm just kidding.
No, thank you,
Yeah.
man. We love you.
Love you guys.
Yeah.
Thanks so much.
You're the best. The Heart of Dating podcast is created by Kate and JJ Tomlin. Shout out to our epic audio and video editor, Scott Caro. We have an amazing Heart of Dating team who helps bring the show to you each week. I want to shout out Lena Gibson, our brand and community manager. We couldn't do it without them. Now, if you guys have never ranked us or reviewed us on iTunes or Spotify, would you consider doing that? It would mean so much because our podcast can get more discovered and more people can learn how to better date as Christians. Don't we all want that? We launch our podcast each and every week on Wednesdays, so we will see you next week.